welcome back to my channel. My name's Carly and I am a homeschooling mom to 3 boys ages 12, 10, and 6, but he is almost 7. So currently they are in 6th grade, 4th grade, and 1st grade. And today I've been talking about this a lot. I did a homeschool tour at the beginning of the school year just to kind of give you an idea. Now I will say we don't actually homeschool in this room. This is kind of, it's too small. But we keep all of our homeschooling materials organized in here for the most part. And then there's a desk now because my middle son moved his desk down into this room to have more space in his room to play. And just to give him, he really appreciates like a quieter spot that's not at the dining room table to do his work. So I thought what I would do, I did a homeschool tour where I showed you all the books on our shelves, and I'm happy to do that again, probably in the summer once I reorganize it and see what new things I need. But for now, I was just going to quickly show you like how we've updated our schoolroom, but also I wanted to show you how and where we store all of like our extra homeschool stuff. So stuff that we don't use daily or doesn't necessarily fit on like bookshelves, because that's something that for me I've learned over the years so many different things from like watching YouTube videos and asking other homeschool moms, like how do you organize it all? How do you store the things that you don't use daily or you don't use because you're saving it for the next child who's not going to be in that grade for a couple of years? Like where do you put all your things, especially in a house that, my house is not small. I'm not complaining at all. It's a big Victorian house, but it's old and we rent. And so I can't exactly like build bookshelves because we're gonna probably be moving in the next 2 years. And so I've always had to like make do with the houses that we live in. And I've come up with a pretty good system in this current house that we live in and thought, but it's a system that I wasn't able to change any like thing structurally. And for those of you who are like, I'm in a house that I like either can't afford to change anything or buy anything fancy, or we move a lot too, and I just need ideas to like keep it organized so that, you know, it's easy to pack up and move again. Like I hear you, because it is a struggle. Even in this particular house, it's like 100 years old, probably over 100 years old. I'm not sure exactly because I don't own it, but none of the floors are like even. They're all really old, like original wood floors, and so it took some different ideas to make it work with my bookshelves. Like nothing was even, things would roll away, and it's been a challenge. But with that being said, we are very blessed with the space that we have. We've used our 4th bedroom to kind of store all of our stuff in, and my 2 younger boys share a room so that we can make that possible. And then I will show you my basement where we store all of the extra things. And I'm going to kind of take you on a little bit of tour. Please be kind. Yes, my house is very old. The walls in the basement are stone and they crumble, but it works for us. And so everybody's on a different journey, so please be kind. And hopefully this gives you some ideas on different ways that you can organize your things so that you're not feeling like overwhelmed with homeschooling materials, especially when you have a wide range of children. I only have 3, but they range from 6th grade, he's 12 years old, all the way down to 1st grade, and he is 6 years old, but he is also working on some kindergarten materials. So a wide span from kindergarten to 6th grade of things I need to save. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and turn you around so that I'm going to start giving you a tour of all the different rooms and ways that we store all of our extras, starting with my homeschool room, just so you can get an idea of what we use on the daily as opposed to what I'm going to show you in my basement and a different cupboard that we have as well. So here we are. Okay, so for those of you who have not seen my full homeschool room tour, you can go ahead and check that out on my channel. It is there, but this does look a little different than it did the first time I did my tour even, and that was just in the, I think we had started school in the fall maybe, so it was probably around that time. So I'll just give you a quick overview of that because I've gone over how we store our books in here. But we have a bookshelf that is all of the stuff that we are currently using. Each of my children has a cube where they put their stuff that they're working on, and then any of the stuff that we're working on, like for our science and history, or like our STEM units, and all of my like teacher guides go on this shelf, and then our morning basket goes on top. And then this is new, we just put this desk in here for my middle son. That's where he does like 90% of his independent work is there. And then of course you have all of our, like, we don't have anywhere else to put like all of our paperwork and office supplies, so that goes there. And then all of our books, this is all of like our informational and resource books, plus all of our like hardcover picture books and the Good and the Beautiful books. Plus we actually have science units down there. I store all of those up here because I use them frequently throughout the year for like referencing and stuff. And then just, you know, some things on the walls. We're currently doing space, and so we have all of our space unit stuff up there. And then our book of library books, we always store those separately so we don't lose them. I know I'm kind of going fast here, but you guys have seen this before if you've watched my videos for a while. And then we did get this cart here, which I'll kind of quickly show you. We switched out our pencil thing. I love Aldi, and I found this, and it's really nice because we do like school travel while we do homeschooling, and I found this and it works so much better than the wicker one we had, which was, I think, supposed to be for like dining utensils. So I got that at Aldi this year. And then we do a lot of art within our language arts curriculum, so I did put some of our art stuff up here because my boys were constantly having to run down to the basement, you know, to get what they needed. This is all stuff for the chalkboard, which we use a lot. And then each of my kids has a drawer. They get computers like through Chromebooks through the school system because they do homeschool partnerships. So all of that, and they have to do their like Google Classrooms. And so we needed a way to safely store the computers that we check out. And then we have our Kindle. And so I gave them each a drawer for their electronics. And down on the bottom is just, currently we have our states puzzle, and these are letter manipulatives that I'm using with my 6-year-old. So just stuff that we use a lot stays up here. Same with like this stuff back in here, like clipboards, whiteboards, sight words that we're working on, stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and bring you out here with me. I don't know where my kids are, so excuse me them if it gets noisy. But we also have, this is just a quick view of where we do almost all of our school. And so we needed a space to store like extra materials that we weren't using all the time. And so if you look in this cabinet here, it just has like down here is like our Yodo stuff and a bunch of different math manipulatives that the boys use a lot, like a clock and a protractor, dice, different stuff like that. That's a basket of random chords that probably could be gone through. They used to keep their headphones in there, and then we got the desk, and so we stopped using that for the headphones at some point this year. And then here is like how to draw books and activity books and Mad Libs and painting. A lot of this stuff they can pull out just to keep themselves like busy if they get done with school early. Just different things that we've been gifted as far as like activity things go. Nothing really particularly school related, but fun stuff. A lot of times if we travel, I'll like pull out of there and bring things with us. This cupboard is not fancy. I bought it on Marketplace years ago. And then over here is my overflow of my morning basket stuff. And so this is either stuff that I've used or plan to use in the next couple of years that I've collected and rotate with our morning basket time. So there's bedtime math, there's poetry stuff, and a lot of like faith-based stuff and things like these books, which I absolutely love. So anyways, that's, whoops, okay, we'll put that up there. So that stuff stores in there, and then down here is devotionals and all stuff like specifically related to the Catholic faith, which we are, and so that's down there. And then back here is like books that I need, you know, for the future, and things that I may be using now, like stuff that as they grow I'm going to be using. So that is what we have in this cupboard here. It's nothing fancy, but it works. Oh, it does have little drawers in the middle, and it's not closing. Excuse me. So we also have just like extra utensils in here, bookmarks, and then down here, extra utensils as well. A lot of like random things. My husband gets stuff given to him from work, like at the beginning of the school year. And so we'll put all the extra stuff that they donate to our family through this program at his work. We'll put all the extra school supplies in there that we might use throughout the year. So what I'm going to do now, that is everything we store on our main floor, but I want to take you down to the basement and show you where we store all of the extra stuff that we don't use very often. So we'll go down there now. Okay, so this is very, like I said, it's a very old house. I promise you there's not mold on my walls. The stone just looks like that. My husband has very much made sure we're safe down here. But this was all built like this before, and this is not my storage stuff, but I figured I would show you because this is what we call our tinker room, and this is just like a little room in our basement that my boys use to do all of their little projects. Like my oldest is really into like wiring and doing different stuff, and so he has all this is all his stuff. I don't even know what it is. Little bolts and things, and all of their like rock collections and little things that they've built. But we store a lot of stuff down here for them to tinker with, and so I figured I would just show you that sometimes these drawers get really crazy. My middle son's really into tying flies, so we have a bunch of that stuff, and then, you know, different stuff like that they can come down here in their free time and just tinker. It does get really messy, and we come and clean it up once in a while. And then, like I said, there's like a whole bin of electronic parts because that's what my son's into, and PVC parts. So that's like kind of my oldest son's stuff. But then we do have like art stuff, like Play-Doh and modeling clay and stickers and paints, craft paper, beading and stamps, shrinky dink, stuff that we don't use every day. And these things are really great to just store down here and keep. So I figured I would show you that. And then don't mind the old door. Like I said, it's a rental and it's very old. Everyone's home is unique. So what I've done here is these shelves were already here, and so I've just utilized them for all of our extras homeschool stuff. And so I'll kind of just quickly go through it. So that's my son's toolbox, and then we have gone to the beach many times and have quite an extensive shell collection, so that stays up there. And then this is a tray that I use for different sciencey stuff, but I keep all my posters for different science units up there. So these just kind of store in the tray up there. These are all just toys that we rotate upstairs, like wooden trains, and then these are like trucks and planes and Nerf darts. So these are just things, Gravitrax and instruments I will pull out and take upstairs, like either for gather around time or just if the boys need a change, they'll grab them and take them upstairs. Or we do have a play space here in the basement that they'll use them. And then this stuff is stuff that it took me forever to figure out like where to put it all, but paper laminating supplies, and then like those zippered storage pouches. And I have a flower press I got for Christmas I'm really excited to use this spring, and a binding machine, and my laminator and my 3-hole punch all lives down here. We have a ton of extra kiwi crates that we haven't used yet that we just stack up here, and I'm hoping we can use them in the summer. And then I have these bins here. I have social studies, math, science, and language arts. And what I do here is I just put everything, like any curriculum that we're not currently, here, let me see if I can, oh, that one's so heavy. I guess I could do it one-handed. So like for math, let's see if I can show you. So it's any of like, so like the math books and the math, or boxes rather, and the answer keys and stuff like that, musical multiplication. None of my kids are using that right now, but I know I will need it in the future. So I put all of that stuff in there, and it stores down here very easily. Same thing with social studies. I have a bunch of different like curriculum and books that I know I'll use in the future, but do not need or have used already with some of my older kids. Same thing with science. This one's a little crazy, but it has a ton of like different like models, like the human body models when we did that unit, and different like displays and things that we use, but only for specific units. So they just all store in there. And my rule of thumb has been, once the box is full, you can't have more. So something has to go before you can add more. And then language arts is all old curriculum that I'm going to be using, like with Jack or Henry as they get older. And then we have our microscope down here, which will probably go on the science thing. And then this is just a little thing that like shows the planets and stuff like that. Just a fun little thing. That's a kit my son won for underwater robotics. So that's down here because we haven't done it yet. And then more Kiwi crates. And then just some like different bigger learning resource activities that I do with Jack, but they definitely don't need to be upstairs. And they're not really a game, so I don't keep them on our game shelf, which I can show you that next before we end the video. And then just a bunch of pattern boxes. And then sensory was more when I had a Flassat table, but I kept some of it, so it's like kinetic sand and foam and different things like that in there. And then the bottom shelf is stuff that while we do our gather round, which is basically morning basket, it's not from the gather round curriculum, we sit around together, but I've found over the years that my younger boys need something to keep their hands busy, and so we kind of rotate through these little boxes of different activities, and I'll use them for other things as well. But so we have those down there, and those have been very nice to use. And then of course we keep our chalkboard and whiteboard down here as well, and we pull that upstairs periodically. So that is basically how we store all of our extra homeschool stuff. And like I said, my rule of thumb is once it's full, you have to get rid of something. And it's not pretty, and I'm showing you a part of my house that is not very nice looking, but it's real. This is like realistically what a homeschool area can look like when you're moving and you rent, or you don't have the money to add like very pretty fancy all white and gray things. Like, this is real life, so this is what we're doing here. The last thing I'm just going to show you is where we store our games, so we'll head there next. Okay, and so the last thing I just wanted to show you is where we store our games. Like I said, our house is old, so we have to fit things where they aren't uneven, and this is the best place for our game shelf. But as you can see, it works out. We're actually in our hallway upstairs, and so we have our puzzles and all of our games upstairs, and it works out pretty good. Again, the rule is kind of once it's full, we have to purge. And so we actually have used like these for the bigger ones, so we have a little bit more space. But yeah, that's where we store our games, and it works out pretty good. Okay, so that was a quick little tour of some of the spaces in our home and how we store all the homeschool extras and things that we use daily and things that we're saving for the future. And I hope this helped you kind of see like you can make it work with whatever kind of home you have and spaces that you have. Like I've said, when I was downstairs in my basement, it's not pretty. We're working with the shelves that were already there when we moved in, but it really is helpful to have a space, any kind of space in your garage, in an extra closet you may have, to put all those extras so that they're not taking up a lot of space in like your daily homeschooling areas, or just making you feel overwhelmed. I know I can easily get overwhelmed with homeschool items and things, and so these are just some of the ways that I've tried to organize in order to streamline the way we do things, and having those like boxes and bookshelves where I can tell myself if those are full, you cannot purchase more stuff for homeschooling. You need to purge, you need to, you know, give them to somebody else and things like that really helps me like keep myself in a mindset of not purchasing too many things, utilizing the library, things of that nature. If you're interested in seeing what we get from the library each week, I'm starting a series where I am doing what's in our library basket. I love utilizing the library because, as you can see, this is all of our books besides just a few that we have upstairs in my older son's room. And so I really try and pare down on that as much as I can because I know when we move, they are going to be very heavy, and kids grow out of series so fast that it's, I've learned to just let go and not keep the things that I know I can get from the library in the future that are just taking up like a whole shelf. So like, for example, the Magic Treehouse series, my oldest son loved it. My middle son was not interested. I had the whole set. I loved them. And I thought, well, maybe I'll save them for my youngest, who is 6. And then I looked at the library and they literally have the whole set there. And they took up almost 2 of these cubes on my shelves. And so it was just space that I needed for other things. And so what I ended up doing is I donated the whole set to our local library. And they were so excited because now they have 2 sets. And if Jack is ever interested in them, we can go and we can check them out and not be storing them and taking up very precious space for our homeschooling materials. So I hope this helped. I hope this gave you some different ideas on how to store things and made you feel like maybe it's not so overwhelming to store all the things, and maybe you're starting to spring clean, and this will give you some incentive and different ideas. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love doing these videos. If you like them as well, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!